Good afternoon, learners. Today, we will be focusing on team dynamics and conflict resolution. Yes. So, what is conflict, or what is conflict management? So, you will ask yourself these questions. So, we can ask, what is conflict in management in business? What is conflict management? And is there a way to resolve the conflict within either the business or within the individual or in a class? So, for example, can conflict resolution be avoided? Can conflict be, can it be resolved? And so there are different dynamics around conflict resolution. For example, within the workplace forum, you will find trade unions. So that today we will discuss those areas. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide you into 4 groups. So I'm calling Mark, Zoe, Alison, and who else? A volunteer. Okay. Thank you. So we have Zoe, Mark, Alison, Zoe, Mark, Alison, and Carl. So those are the group leaders. So I'm going to give the 4 color pages to you, and I want you to go to the groups where there is color code, and then the rest of the class will then take their color and go to the specific color group. Then we will share the following questions. The first group, what is conflict management? The second group, how can you avoid conflict management? The third group, how can we find positive ways to conflict resolution? And the last group will then discuss the functions of the different workplace forums. So they will then specifically talk about the function of a trade union. When you are done with your groups, you will have approximately 10 to 12 minutes to discuss, and then you will come back to give feedback to the rest of the class. So you will make turns. So group 1, you will be the first ones to give feedback, then group 2, then group 3, and then group 4. And for that, the group leaders will give the feedback as representatives of the groups. Thank you. So, thank you so much, Zoe. In your group, you were discussing, there are 2 issues in I'm just showing the picture. Can you see? There are 2 issues in groups. It's either for or against. There are always 2 dynamics from groups. And thank you for that feedback. So, in conclusion, learners, thank you for an excellent group work. You really did a sterling job. And so I want you to then just recap. I want to just recap on what the 4 groups in the 4 color codes has given feedback. They were looking at the definitions, they were looking at resolutions, and they were looking at the trade unions, and they were also defining what conflict is and what is conflict management. So remember that all your input that you have shared in your different groups are going to be written down, and I want you to write it down in your workbooks, because next week we will continue with team dynamics and conflict management. So I want also the group leaders to share their notes so that they will, so that we all write it down, so that we will keep the notes for next week. We want to thank you, Mark, Carl, and Zoe, and Alison, for taking a lead in the groups. And for the groups, thank you that you are now going to write down your information so that you can share that next week.